what I do. No.
No, click on this.
What?
This tab.
This one?
And do your intro.
Hello, ladies and
I didn't kiss
gentlemen.
you.
Oh, you're not.
You told me I had to be here
Yep.
for that.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a Long Walker Factual Fridays. We're trying out a new system, so if I'm not quite familiar with everything, just give me a second to adequately get to know it. But we got the 7 deadly sins, and it's lust this time.
We spent a month on Pride.
Yeah, we spent a month on Pride, so we're moving on to another one, and lust happens to be now. And we figured it's one of the better ones since our son is still out.
Yeah.
So we can actually focus and work on this one. So.
But I didn't do a very good job with the playlist anyway, so.
We got talking points and stuff.
We do have talking points, and we do have a couple of like different religious perspectives on lust, as well as a scientific perspective on lust compared to love. Couple stories. I found a couple stories that were posted about polyamorous relationships or open relationships, and all of that stuff is lustful in nature.
It is.
I don't care what they say. It's not love. So.
No, so we're gonna move on. We'll see what we got here. Dr. Botton set us up with a bunch of good ones still, even though we're running behind tonight. Glad to see anybody who's here.
And then I can edit you.
Yep, as we go. Yep. All right.
Hell yeah, I'm horny. As in horny and really depressed.
That was like 2.
Well, it was a short.
Mm-hmm.
This is Annie. She fell in love with.
People judge me because I slept with 300 people last year. I get a lot of judgment from a lot of different people. You're just a few years away from clinical depression. Nothing empowering about this, just makes you look easy and an STD catcher.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this one here is the woman who got caught. She went viral for a while, and she was slept with 300 different people within a year's period. I think she was in London or something. At some point, and she was like, yeah, I slept with like 1 a day, and that's just ridiculous. I mean, spreading your energy that thin that it's to that many different people, you got to remember, it's not just sex, it's not just lust. You are spreading energy, you are spreading, goddess knows what else you're spreading. So, think about that. That's why the least amount of partners you have, the better.
Yeah, even scientifically speaking, especially for women, like the ability to pair bond and be able to like be psychologically okay with yourself, like ends after like 3 to 5 guys.
Yes.
And that's assuming that you were actually in like committed relationships with those people.
Yes.
So
and
they're hollow.
Yeah, and it's something else. It's like our parents, for whatever reason, it went haywire with them. And they started just jumping from guy to guy to guy to guy. Mm-hmm. It's like both of our mothers had that issue. And it's like they just cannot keep stable relationships. Divorce became like a freaking staple. Yeah. It's like, yeah, I'll just get a divorce. That's it. That'll fix everything.
It's like most of the kids in my class when I was in school, I believe, were children of divorce. And it was just like, yeah, that's like the way that it is.
It's just how we are now. We're a divorced family now.
Exactly. Exactly. Sorry, keep grinding on you in a good way.
Being chased by thirsty little boys.
Today, Annie's friend Alex will be sharing her thoughts on her mate's escapades.
I did wonder, how are you sort of safe with all of the guys that you have been with the last year?
I'm Annie. People judge me because I slept with 300 people last year, but I don't care. I first started doing spicy content in 2020. It was during COVID. I saw some girls on TikTok talking about all the money they were making, and I thought, that sounds pretty easy. It's now been 4 years, and I absolutely love it. When I first started, I was earning about $9,000 a month, and now I earn about $250,000 a month. So right now I'm just setting up my stage, I guess, for my job. I'm pretty simple when it comes to filming content. I like to just use my tripod, and I like to keep things pretty personal, kind of like the girlfriend experience, nothing too crazy. Yeah, ready to go. I first started being open about my sex life online, maybe 9 months ago. And I honestly was just sharing it for fun. Then I was just like sharing my sexual experiences because I thought it was good to break the stigma of women being sexual. And then over time, people started really enjoying my content. So I started deciding to like set myself goals. And that's when I came up with the 300 people in a year. And the most that I've slept with in a day is 5. I find a lot of the people that I sleep with on dating apps or in real life, the guys that I've met so far, I wouldn't say that I would see myself being with them long term. But if I do find the right person along my journey.
See, that's the problem. She's not even doing it to find the right person.
No.
She's doing it as a career, as a job, as something to pass the time.
Yeah, it's like a goal. Like she says, I had to like change my goals and up my goals. And it's like, that's where I came up with the 300. What? Why though?
It's ridiculous.
Because even on a professional basis, that really lowers your value.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, like that's not even talking about like the spiritual and emotional, mental stuff. But it's just like, these OnlyFans people, they make a bunch of money. But like I've talked about before, it's like if you break it down per customer, it's like you're selling the most intimate parts of yourself for like $15 a month.
Exactly.
It's like, you had a bunch of them, so it accumulates more. You get more money.
Yeah.
Right now, but in the long run, you're selling yourself for $15 a month.
And that's selling a little piece of yourself.
Yeah.
Here and there.
Every time. Yeah.
So it's like, oh, here went that piece of skin.
Yeah.
That piece.
And then it
Eventually, you're gonna look so disgusting.
And it does wear on you,
Oh yeah, it does.
Being in the webcamming business and everything, it's like you got to know when to jump ship and change lanes. It doesn't last that long. It's like you might have a shelf life of 3 to 5 years.
Yeah.
And this app, like I'm assuming she's talking about OnlyFans.
Probably.
Is it's on its way out now. It's like it's probably been about 5 years or so, and now it's kind of like losing its edge in its commodity.
Yes, it really is.
What are you gonna do with that money that you've cultivated if you have it? It's like most of them don't even have it. They spend it.
The funny thing is they say, I make this much a month, $9,000, $7,000 a month. When in reality, it's because they're doing a lot more than what they lead on.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because even when the webcamming and then the phone operator stuff,
yes,
there was always girls saying, "Oh, I make like $1,000 a night." No, it's like if you're making $1,000 a night, I don't know what you're doing.
Yeah,
because it's like that's got to be some pretty debased stuff. Because
it does.
It's like you can like think about maybe like an average of maybe $1,000 a month.
Yes,
maybe.
Yeah,
that's like that seems to be about the average that I was seeing with people. So it's just like not worth it, and it's driven by lust.
Yes,
and simping.
And again, lust is selfish.
Mm-hmm. There's no give.
I saw something on one of the ones that we watched, and it was that lust is selfish when love is selfless.
Right, exactly.
You care about other people.
Yeah, you give of your best self to raise that person up, and lust is just like, oh, it's carnal. I want to feel good right now. Hey, it's Sancho.
What's up, Sancho?
In his human form.
Is that the name that he's on?
Donut Dude 938. Yes.
Yep.
Love it.
All right.
Then that's something that I would definitely consider. I've had like very mixed reactions to my sleeping with 300 people in a year. Some people have been super supportive, like, go girl, you do you, slay. And then I've had the majority of people judging me, saying that I'm riddled with STIs and that I'm not safe and that I'm disgusting. I think that there's definitely a stigma.
Yeah, as Dr. Vaughton just saying, spiritual STIs for sure. I mean, you're riddled with them at that point.
Yeah. Demons.
Mm-hmm.
With women being sexual as opposed to men. I think people accept men as being sexual beings, whereas women are seen as non-sexual beings, which is incorrect. Whenever I post something on Instagram, I definitely get berated in the comments. here are just a few of the comments that I tend to get. Really? Like, really? Is that all you can boast about? What a sad life. You must be living. Grow a few years old and most of these desperate people will stop coming and giving you money. You're just a few years away from clinical depression. Nothing empowering about this, just makes you look easy. And an STD catcher, being chased by thirsty little boys. The body is good, but the head not so much, as plain Jane trying to be hot with makeup. What a warped mentality. Definitely was dropped as a baby or abused by an uncle. I honestly don't let the judgment that I get online really bother me that much. Sometimes I laugh at it because I think it's hilarious. When you do what I do for work, you have to have a thick skin. When I first started doing adult content, my friends and family were definitely concerned. They were worried about my future, also worried about the hate that I was getting online. I'm about to call mum and see what she thinks about my love life. When I first told her about what I do, well, technically I didn't tell her. She found out through a news article on Facebook and she was very shocked. It wasn't the best way for her to find out. Hey, Mum. What did you think when I first told you about the content that I make?
Well, you didn't tell me. I was online and there was a newspaper and I thought, why is my Annie in the newspaper? So I started reading and I didn't know what OF was and it took me a little while to accept.
Did you have any reservations and if so, what were they?
Yes, of course I did. My first concern was that you would reach a certain age and what would you do afterwards? Mm-hmm. But of course you've proven again that you know exactly what you're doing and I don't have any concerns anymore.
What are your thoughts on the number of guys that I slept with last year?
All I can say is I know you very well and I feel like you know what you're doing. Perhaps you're trying to show that a woman can have control of what she does in her life, mm-hmm. that she can say no, she can say yes. Mm-hmm. Consent is such an issue at the moment. Maybe it's not bad for men to see that a woman can make decisions about herself.
Yeah, I like that.
So would the trolls ever stop you from doing what you do?
No, I don't think they ever would. I mean, I'm just doing my own thing. I've been dealing with hate now for probably 3 years since I started my spicy page. Mum, would you ever want to change what I do for a living?
I want you to choose what you do in life. I trust you. Whatever you choose to do, I'll be there for you.
Aww. All right, Mum, I've got to go now, but I love you.
Yeah.
I love you so much.
Bye, Mum.
And actually, it's not showing.
I am just getting some drinks prepared because my friend Alex is coming over.
My name is Alex. I'm 33 years old. I am one of Annie's close friends. We actually lived together last year.
Hi, how are you? Good, how are you? What did you think when you first heard about my content creating?
I think I was a little bit shocked and surprised at first, the way I had found out about it. We had only been living together for about a month.
Yeah, literally.
So, you know, I kind of understand that you wouldn't want to just come out and say it.
It was also an awkward thing to just come out and say.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. But after you told me about it, I was totally fine with it.
How did you feel once you found out about all the guys I'd been with last year?
I think because initially the way that I found out about it was from an Instagram post, which did surprise me a little bit. But then when I approached you about it and you were sort of really open with me and honest, there was probably a little bit of a side to me that I think safety issues, like I did wonder, how are you sort of safe with all of the guys that you have been with last year?
I feel like I'm very safe when it comes to it because obviously with my work I have to be, because if I were to film with other creators, you can only film with creators if you're clean, because we do like full STI checks every 2 weeks and obviously practice like using protection, like condoms, etc. So I feel like I do it very well, but obviously there's always risk. And so
see, that's one of the things that people have the most problems with too, is learning how to use condoms and safe protection. Because I mean, even us, we had issues.
Yeah.
When we first tried to do it, it was just like, you couldn't figure it out, couldn't deal with it. Finally, we just said, screw it, we're not using it, and just did it.
But that was, but I mean, like, we were like together and we're still together. That's the difference. It's like,
well, very much so. But I'm just saying, like, the average person still, it's a problem with the protection.
Yeah.
Because it's not taught to you. You don't really know what you're doing. You know you're supposed to do it.
Right.
But you don't know how. You're in the heat of the moment.
Right. No, it was a pain, and I didn't like it at all.
Yeah.
It wasn't worth it. And, it's like God's will, Yep.
So I get that. I get where you're coming from.
Yeah. Do you ever worry about what people think?
It only bothers me what my close friends and family think. Everyone outside of that, I could not care less.
Yeah.
So we're going to go get drinks. Do you want to go get ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, cool.
So do you usually approach a guy that you like the look of, or do you wait for them to approach you?
I feel like I definitely do a little bit of both. Like, if I see a guy that I like, I'll approach him and maybe like do it at the bar so it's more casual.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I feel like I'll just let them approach me.
Yeah.
Might give them the eyes from across the room, and then they'll come over.
Yeah.
And
And what about your handbag? What kind of things would you put in your handbag for a night out?
Definitely a condom. Always got to be safe.
Yes.
Maybe two.
Safe.
Just in case.
Yes.
And then just my
That's just one
makeup
client,
and
yeah.
my ID.
The other
I'm set
clients
to
to
go.
go.
Great.
In the future, I am hoping next year to hit 600 in a year. So we'll see how we go this year, and then maybe that's my next year's challenge. I would say to people who judge women for their sex lives, what's the difference between a man sleeping with 5 people in a day and a woman sleeping with 5 people in a day? I don't understand why when a man does it, they celebrate him and they think he's a legend, but when a woman does.
Well, because there is a difference. I mean, the woman has stuff that is left up in her.
Yeah.
And everything like that. So the woman, as long as she cleans, she'll be okay continuously doing it or safe.
Yeah, well, that's just the physical stuff. And there's like a lot of like diseases and stuff that happens that's asymptomatic with us that doesn't appear, and it can like wreak havoc on you guys, and we would never even know. Not to mention, like I said, the pair bonding ability, the mental health. The more people you sleep with, I don't care who you are, the more people you sleep with, the more your mental health deteriorates. It's a scientific fact.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's like, it isn't. There is a huge difference, like particularly for women compared to men in every aspect of sexuality.
I mean, that's why it's said.
Yeah.
Because there truly is a difference.
It's it's been written for thousands of years.
Yeah.
They knew something then that we don't know now.
They know a lot more than what we know now.
And it totally checks out, It's
Mm-hmm.
like, even down to not eating, sorry, you're all scruffy. Even down to not eating pork, they like said it was unclean. And then you find out now all the diseases and stuff that can come from uncooked pork, and the cancers and stuff that can come from overcooked pork. So
I know it's crazy to think of all of that.
Yeah, and they knew that.
Yeah.
So it's like, some things aren't meant to be questioned.
No, they're not.
And like women aren't supposed to sleep with 300 dudes in a year.
Exactly.
Does it, we're called names and ridiculed and made fun of. It's just not fair. The advice that I'd give to other women who want to explore their sexuality would be just go for it. Don't worry about other people's judgment. You don't have to put it out there on the internet like I do. I'm trying to beat the stigma around women being sexual. And honestly, like, I feel amazing. It really is one of the best things I've ever done. So highly recommend.
She highly recommends it. So it's not even just for her,
That's crap.
Yeah. It should move on to the next one.
It is. 6 difference between love and lust.
I hope so.
Lust has a reputation for being the flame we jump into. Think of 50 Shades of Grey or your classic bad boy or bad girl who's all games and danger with no strings attached. But according to leading love expert Dr. Helen Fisher, lust is the essential first stage of love. Without the desire of wanting someone first, we cannot experience intimacy. So, how do we know if we're still stuck in the initial stage of attraction or ready to transition into something more meaningful and long-lasting? Here are 6 key differences between lust versus love. 1. Lust is driven by physical connection, but love comes from emotional connection. It all comes down to our brain. Which areas are being activated when you hang out with your partner? Research shows that lust lights up the regions associated with reward and motivation, whereas love stimulates the areas that help you empathize. Lust happens when you and your partner don't have much to talk about but have great sex. This is common for two people who haven't been dating for too long. But love, on the other hand, happens when you appreciate your partner for more than just...
I'm trying to figure out a better way to word that.
Yeah, to me, lust is a totally different beast. Like, it has its own identity.
Yeah, lust is your desires.
Like, and it's
what your body craves.
It's just shallow.
Yeah.
And you want more and more of it. It becomes like a mental
yes.
block. You know, like, it's like you have physical attraction even in love.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't call that lust.
No.
You know, it's like, I don't know that we ever really had lustful thoughts toward each other. We had physical attraction and we couldn't keep our hands off each other for a while, but, you know.
The best.
But it wasn't like, I mean, to me, it's just like lust is so hollow, like you're just going to use them and drop them and move on.
Yeah, that's very true.
So I don't know. I think that lust is like a totally different beast, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Just their love. And can spend meaningful time with them. This is what ultimately forms the start of a deep and serious relationship. 2. Over time, love grows stronger, whereas lust becomes weaker. Psychologist and sex therapist Shannon Chavez states that as attachment and bonding grow over time, so does love. But lust is more temporary and fades when sexual desire fades away. If a relationship is based solely on lust, there is inevitably no foundation to fall in love with each other. Lust feels like an exciting roller coaster but can only be sustained by physical pleasure. When the real work kicks in, the dynamic either transitions into love or the relationship begins to fall apart. 3. Lust is based on fantasies. Love, however, operates on the ground of reality. Have you ever looked back on past relationships and wondered how on earth you two got together? I don't know about you, but I sure do. Imagination can come in handy when life gets mundane, but more often than not, it's like a double-edged sword. When you like the idea of someone more than who's actually in front of you, it can cause you to miss a lot of red flags. Relationship experts state that there is only so much time before reality sets in and makes you realize that your partner has faults just like you, and that your expectations were unfair. 4. In lust, your romantic partner...
What was that?
Nothing. I have no faults. I'm perfect, you know? No.
Yep.
But that is kind of like the modern woman mentality. It's like, you know, I'm perfect.
Yes.
I'm the table. What was it that I heard the other day? It was really great. Oh, just because you're on all fours doesn't mean you're the table.
That's a good one.
But in love, you're lifelong friends. Psychiatrist Judith Orloff discovered that people in lust are just lovers, but true love is built on the foundation of a strong friendship. Sure, two people can agree to be in a relationship, go on fun dates, and even meet each other's families. But if they lack compromise, communicate poorly, and fail to understand each other, the prospect of having a future together is very low. 5. Lust is all about thrill-seeking, whereas love is the pursuit of stability. Researchers have looked at MRI scans of people in lust and found that their brains look similar when an addict gets a fix of cocaine. Sounds intense, right? But that's why infatuation is not likely to last as long as love. The drug effects wear off when you can no longer satiate your sexual desires. Whereas lust is about instant gratification, love is the relentless search for stability. 6. Lust is selfish, but love comes from a selfless place. When you love someone, you focus more on helping them reach their goals and care about their health and well-being. Lust, on the other hand, is all about your own wants, like boosting your ego when you're next to your attractive partner or simply fulfilling your sexual desires. In order to move from the initial stage of lust to love, you must determine whether you could see yourself doing favors or making sacrifices for your partner. Do you think you're in lust or in love? We hope that this video helped you differentiate between the two.
You should never try to move on in a relationship if you do not see yourself helping the situation of between you and your partner, or, you know, just doing it for them instead of being selfish.
Mm-hmm.
Because being selfish in a relationship gets a relationship nowhere, and it makes people resent you.
And it's like what they end up saying. A lot of these women will end up saying that, and men that it's been like a waste of their time, which isn't necessarily true, but it is in some ways, particularly if you've spent 5 to 10 years with somebody.
Yes.
And you could have had a family and you could have had children and you could have had a life.
But where you are is where you're supposed to be most generally.
Right. Yes.
For the most part, you have to learn lessons and you have to advance on through what this world is.
Right. Yeah. It's kind of like there is no wasted time.
No.
There's always a lesson to be found there. But I get it. I get why they would be bitter and upset and not.
Yeah, of course. I mean, anybody would. It's like, oh my, I wasted all this. Instead of thinking,
I could have done that.
Instead of thinking like, okay, I learned these lessons.
Right.
But see, that's the well, look what happened to me mentality.
It's the Western way.
Me.
Yeah, exactly. It's the Western
That's the way you should not be.
Remember that just because you might only be experiencing lust doesn't mean that your feelings can't develop into love. Please share your thoughts with us below. Also, be sure to subscribe to our channel for more helpful content, and thank you for watching!
Shirt changing.
Lust is satanic, and here is why. Look at the 7 deadly sins. One of them is lust. Lust aligns closely with the deceptive tactics of Satan. It's a temptation that capitalizes on human desires for pleasure.
I'll just like break it down. It's like anything that is what they say of the devil's work or evil is a corruption of something that was given to you by God.
Yes.
Like, sex was given to us by God as a way to reward us for procreation and reward us for being in a good relationship, because there's no kind of intimacy like a divine union.
I like that.
But when evil gets involved, it corrupts it.
Yes.
So it's like lust is just the corrupted version of love.
Yeah, exactly. The exact opposite is that it's the devil getting a hold of it and spinning it.
Hell, he's done it even with music.
Yeah.
It's like music and tones have the ability to heal and to put you into a higher state of being. But then they go and they make songs like by Sexy Red, my pussy pee, my booty hole brown.
Booty hole brown.
It's like that kind of crap. Corrupted.
Yeah.
So it's like it's everything that the Christians would say, or really anybody from any religious sect would be evil is just a corruption of some God-given thing.
Yes.
Sensuality and self-gratification, drawing individuals away from God's intended design for relationships and intimacy. When individuals indulge in lustful thoughts and behaviors, they succumb to the lies propagated by Satan, who distorts the beauty of sexuality and perverts it into a selfish pursuit of fleeting pleasure. Lust promotes a focus on satisfying one's own desires at the expense of others, fostering objectification and exploitation rather than genuine love and respect. Moreover, lust often leads to a spiral of destructive consequences, damaging relationships, eroding self-worth, and distancing individuals from God's presence. Lust represents a perversion of God's gift of sexuality, twisting it into a tool of exploitation.
Take it from me, love is literally waiting as long as it takes and willing to just sit there and just be with your partner.
Mm-hmm.
It's what I was like,
I know.
through waiting, because she was like, oh, I don't know if I want to be with anybody. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. And you just waited.
And I just waited. And
you were persistent. You were a good friend, but you were persistent, but you weren't like aggressive.
Yes.
You were just always like there, and you made it known what your intentions were, that it wasn't like, we're not going to like do this game, but, you were a good friend. But, you weren't, like, I wouldn't say that you got friend zoned because you wouldn't let yourself.
Yep.
I tried. But.
So to be a guy, you have to step up, and you have to, how to put it? You have to have self-discipline and know when to back down, when to step up. You just got to know the roles.
And it doesn't change. I mean, it's like you still have to, you said as long as it takes for me to regain trust and to put my faith in you completely. You said it'll and so it's like it just doesn't. It's just like a constant thing that you both have to work at.
Exactly.
And that is love. That's selflessness. It's like I'm always having to put aside my ego and try to like let down my guard and put faith in you and not have those masculine energies coming up where I'm trying to like stress out about stuff and take over things and you just keep persisting.
This week, it was just us.
Yeah.
But you get really discouraged because we stopped doing this, we stopped doing that, we're not getting this done. But
yeah, it's a circumstantial thing.
Yes.
So to try and take your lead on that.
Yep.
But yeah, that's love.
And bondage. By indulging in lustful thoughts and actions, individuals align themselves with the agenda of the enemy, choosing momentary gratification over the abundant life God offers. Thus, resisting lust is not merely a matter of personal morality, but a spiritual battle against the forces of darkness, with Satan seeking to ensnare and entrap souls in his web of deception and destruction. In a world besieged by temptation, our minds are battlegrounds where lustful thoughts whispered by the devil wage war against our souls. But fear not, for amidst the darkness, there shines a beacon of hope. In this video, I will tell you 4 Bible verses, each wielding the power to vanquish the shadows of temptation. Alongside these verses, we present 4 practical methods, guiding you on the path to victory over the snares of lust. Welcome, seekers of truth, to a sanctuary of enlightenment and empowerment. Don't forget to like and subscribe and comment, Amen. Matthew 5:28. But I tell you that anyone who looks at a woman lustfully has already committed adultery with her in his heart. In Matthew 5:28.
Yes, because if you look at a woman lustfully, wanting her, and you already have somebody else, you might as well have already committed it. That is just the way that it works. And you have to know that. I mean, if you have a partner, commit to your partner 100%. It's not, well, yeah, I look all the time, and that doesn't mean that I'm touching or that I'm cheating.
Yeah.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, I used to hear that all the time, especially from like our parents, my mother, It's like, well, I can look, looking's not touching. This is exactly what you just said. It's like for some reason that was just like really thrown around. And I do believe that even from a young age, you should be trained to not be lustful in mind at all.
Yeah, like, you really shouldn't be lustful.
In like our order, in Tristan's order, it's like you have to have pure thoughts. And
yes.
Because it still does damage to your psyche in some way. It does, because it's almost like the pornography thing, it activates a certain part of the brain, and then you can't live up to that expectation. So it's like, and it's also super disrespectful.
Yes.
And it's like, I understand like looking at somebody and appreciating their form and seeing their beauty.
Appreciating them for who they are.
Yeah.
They have a nice body, right,
it's like not like you just want to go lay them down somewhere and do them.
Exactly.
That's a totally different thing. It's like, yeah, you can appreciate them for their beauty and the sexuality that they're giving off, but it's like as soon as you cross that line of having thoughts of actually doing stuff, it's like,
yes.
I mean, look at his friend, Tristan's friend. It's like he's 13 years old, 14, and like he's already like watching some kind of hardcore stuff, and
it was at school,
and he's always talking about it. I guess he's like, oh my gosh, she's so hot, she's so hot, I would like to do her. It's like, you don't even know what the fuck you're talking about.
Nope.
Oh, it's funny, he just saw the video about lust after landscaping. And also earlier he said, religious or not, I consider it disrespectful when women, especially a future wife or girlfriend, to have been sleeping around. Then let me be a pimp and let me show gratitude to other girls.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, how would you like it?
Exactly. It's the same.
And we're going to get into a little bit about polyamory and open relationships too.
Yes, you have a good one on that.
Yeah.
So. And ladies and gentlemen, if you want to see a video about like what porn does to you, the effects, I've got one of those in my inventory too. My videos. We did something on that earlier.
I was gonna say, this is not Minecraft.
Yeah.
It's in my inventory.
But in my where I am, I've got a video on that too that I did. Yeah. So you should check it out if you haven't already.
Very first ones that we ever did, and it was a really good one because it it touches on like the damaging effects.
Yes.
It's like you just can't get around it. It's really hard.
It damaged me a lot, because as a kid you look at it and then you desensitize yourself. I mean, it's bad.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like we've been together almost 20 years, and that still comes up, and it still causes insecurities, and it still causes pain, and you still have reactions, and it's like, and it's been long since you've watched it.
Yeah.
But the damage is still there.
The damage is done.
You know, yep.
The damage is done.
8. Jesus implores us to confront the roots of sin, teaching that lustful thoughts breed adultery in the heart. This verse illuminates the internal nature of sin, urging us to purify our minds and hearts. This verse underscores the importance of purity not only in actions but also in thoughts. It reflects Jesus' teachings on the transformation of the heart and the need for inner righteousness. From a philosophical standpoint, it delves into the concept of intentionality and the power of thoughts to shape behavior. To apply this...
Okay, go ahead.
He's talking about, from a psychological standpoint, intentionality. So it's like what you manifest in your mind, you create.
Exactly.
So it's like, you know, you're creating this environment that's not so good for you. You know?
Like you said, I cannot wait to get into the polyamorous, because, you know, that goes along with this.
It does.
Having more than one. I mean, we watched the TV series Sister Wives.
Right.
And, you know, when it first started off, we liked it. We liked them, and it was really good. They had a great dynamic.
Yeah, because there was actually like a religious principle behind it. They had, you know, it's like, this is why we're doing it. This is what's written for us. So it's like, and he took care of each of the wives individually. Everybody seemed to be pretty happy.
Yes.
But then it starts coming out.
And at the end, he is a monster.
Yeah. And he chose one over the others, even though they had spent 20, 30 years with him.
Yep.
And he started prioritizing. He split them up. And it was just this big mess, you know.
Yeah.
And that was from a religious perspective.
And I still say that he was the one that was the problem.
Yeah, of course.
In that whole thing.
He's supposed to be the leader.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't even get into that, because it's like that'd be a whole nother live stream.
I know, a couple of live streams.
By this verse in daily life, individuals can cultivate mindfulness and self-awareness to recognize and control lustful thoughts. This may involve practicing discipline in what one consumes through media and entertainment, as well as intentionally redirecting one's thoughts towards virtuous and uplifting content. Do not go on adult websites or on websites where you could accidentally see such content like Reddit. This will make you more motivated to actually go look for a loving and healthy relationship. Such relationships built on mutual respect and commitment, and this can provide a supportive environment for resisting temptation and pursuing purity. Through connection with trusted individuals, one can strive towards aligning their thoughts and actions with moral integrity, ultimately leading to personal growth and spiritual fulfillment. 1 Corinthians 10:13. No temptation has overtaken you except what is common to mankind, and God is faithful. He will not let you be tempted beyond what you can bear, but when you are tempted, he will also provide a way out so that you can endure it. In this verse, Paul assures us that God provides a way out when we face temptation. This verse offers solace amidst our struggles, reminding us of God's faithfulness and our capacity to resist temptation with his help. This verse emphasizes the commonality of human experiences with temptation and the assurance that God does not allow us to be overwhelmed by it. It speaks to the trustworthiness of God's promises and the belief that he provides resources and strength to overcome temptation. To apply this verse, individuals can deepen their prayer life and meditation on God's word. By seeking God's presence through fervent prayer and meditation, believers can tap into his strength and wisdom to overcome temptation. Instead of solely relying on their own willpower, they can surrender their struggles to God, trusting in his faithfulness to provide a way out. Through consistent prayer and meditation, individuals can cultivate a deeper dependence on God and experience his empowering presence in the midst of temptation. Galatians 5:16. So I say, walk by the Spirit, and you will not gratify the desires of the flesh. Being righteous and morally upright individuals is foundational to walking in the Spirit. As believers, we are called to reflect God's character in our thoughts, words, and actions. By prioritizing righteousness and goodness, we create fertile ground for the Holy Spirit to work in and through us. We understand that walking by the Spirit involves a conscious decision to align our lives with God's purposes. This begins with prayerful study of God's Word, allowing its truths to shape our understanding and guide our choices. To apply this verse practically, individuals can start by immersing themselves in Scripture, seeking wisdom and insight into God's will. Through regular Bible study, believers can gain a deeper understanding of God's character and His desires for their lives. As they internalize God's Word, they become equipped to discern between the promptings of the Spirit and the temptations of the flesh. In addition to studying Scripture, prayer plays a vital role in walking by the Spirit. By cultivating a consistent prayer life, believers can maintain a close connection with God, seeking His guidance and empowerment to resist sinful desires. Through prayer, individuals surrender their will to God's, inviting the Holy Spirit to lead and direct their steps. Ultimately, by prioritizing the study of Scripture and cultivating a lifestyle of righteousness and prayer, believers can effectively walk by the Spirit, experiencing victory over the desires of the flesh and growing in intimacy with God. Ephesians 5:3. But among you there must not be even a hint of sexual immorality, or of any kind of impurity, or of greed, because these are improper for God's holy people. Ephesians 5:3 admonishes us to abstain from even a hint of sexual immorality, reflecting Paul's call to holiness and purity. This verse sets a high standard for Christian conduct, urging believers to honor God with their bodies. This verse underscores the significance of living in accordance with God's standards of righteousness and avoiding any form of impurity or immorality. Philosophically, it speaks to the concept of ethical living and the pursuit of virtue in one's character. To apply this verse, individuals can prioritize intentional self-examination and reflection on their thoughts, words, and actions. Writing all thoughts and reflect on them in a journal helps. Make a routine before sleeping where you read the Bible, write a journal and reflect your thoughts, and then pray. This will massively
Or we read a verse in the morning.
We do a devotional every morning.
Yep, devotional every morning.
And we do, we write in a grimoire every night. So that we can sort that stuff out. And,
yes.
Try to keep it positive. But if there's any kind of rough spots, it's like we record it anyway.
Polish them up.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
Increase the quality of your sleep as well. I hope that through reflecting on these powerful verses and applying their teachings to your life, you will find greater strength and wisdom in battling and overcoming lustful thoughts. Remember, with God's guidance and your commitment to righteousness, you can navigate the challenges of temptation and experience true freedom in Christ. If you found value in this video and are inspired to take steps towards controlling your thoughts, don't hesitate to like, subscribe, and leave a comment saying Amen. Your engagement fuels our mission to spread the transformative message of the Bible. Until next time, may you walk in the light of God's truth. Amen.
Once, a young boy approached his Zen master and asked, "Oh, wise one, why do I keep having sexual thoughts in my mind all the time?"
They can start it now. You have to give it a second because it's streaming, so it's a little slow.
Okay, sorry, ladies and gentlemen, I'm still getting used to this. But either way, that was the Christianity one, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is now about Buddhist.
The Buddhist story about
how to control lust.
Mm-hmm.
And then you said there's at least one more, right?
Yeah, there's a couple of stories. There's a little bit, a short one, I think, about polyamory. Is it right for you? That sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then there is a story, I believe, about an open relationship.
Okay.
So this will probably take us to
our mark
9:45-ish.
Okay.
So.
All right, then let's get on to this one. But I hope you guys are enjoying this.
I approached his Zen master and asked, "Oh, wise one, why do I keep having sexual thoughts in my mind all the time? They consume my time and energy, making it hard for me to focus on anything else. And I constantly feel attracted toward the opposite sex." The Zen master smiled and said, "You see, my friend, first of all, we should realize that whatever naturally exists within us is not inherently bad. It serves a purpose in our lives. Lust is an emotion that arises from a physical need, which is a natural in every living being. Sexual lust is not something external that we acquire. Instead, It is inherently present within us. It is a natural aspect of human existence, essential for the continuation of our species. Curious, the boy persisted. If sexual lust is a natural part of us, then why do people condemn it? The master pointed out there is a big misunderstanding when it comes to sexual desire.
Yes.
It is a natural part of human being, stemming from our biology and instincts. However, societal norms, cultural beliefs, and personal experiences can shape how we perceive and express it. Some may view sexual desire as taboo or shameful, while others may embrace it openly. Sexual desires, like an emotion, is not inherently good or bad. It is about how we handle it. But just like with anything in life, problems can arise when there is too much of it. Take eating, for example. Eating is necessary for survival, but when we overeat, it can harm our bodies. Similarly, indulging in sexual desires excessively can cause harm to us. Animals also feel sexual desire and have sex, but they usually do it during specific times, like mating seasons. Humans, however, can indulge in sex anytime, whether it is needed for reproduction or not. This means we have more freedom, but it can sometimes lead to problems if we overdo it. So, having sexual thoughts is natural and okay, but it becomes a problem when we start to think about it all the time and we can't focus on anything else. The boy nodded eagerly and said, "Yes, sir, that's exactly what's happening to me right now. These thoughts are taking over my mind and I can't seem to control them." The Zen master explained, there are few reasons why sexual desire can become uncontrollable. Firstly, many people lack a clear purpose in their lives,
Yes.
leaving them susceptible to being consumed by their desire.
That's a big one. You know, you have to know where you stand in any life, in any of the.
I don't have any. Do you want more?
in anything like that. I mean, it is big to have a purpose.
Yeah. And like I was thinking before, it's like if people are like overcome by lustful thoughts, they must have like really empty lives.
Yeah,
they must
that's
have,
for
like,
sure.
something missing, you know, or maybe some traumas that they're getting over as well. But you know, there's definitely something missing to make them want to preoccupy themselves with something that's such a root chakra, base bottom thing.
Exactly.
You know, it's like it's not elevated in any capacity.
It's like me with my stuff. You know, there's childhood traumas, but then there was a lot of open space too.
Yeah.
You know, I gamed. That's what I did most of my thing. So I was on the computer already.
Right.
So I mean, it just goes hand in hand. It's like, oh.
And blue light stimulates things as well, and you don't think straight. And you know, if you're not eating right, all of those things are factors into why you are not able to control.
And I used to drink a lot of sodas. Like I could go through a 12-pack of Cokes in like 2 days.
That's insane.
Yeah.
And now we all three of us will share a cup of coffee, you know, in the morning, like 3 times a week.
Yep.
Desires. Then, turning to the boy, the master asked, "Do you find yourself having inappropriate thoughts even when you are busy with your work?" The boy replied, "No, sir. When I am focused on my task, those thoughts don't bother me."
See?
The master nodded. That's because our mind can only hold one thought at a time. If we have a meaningful goal in our lives and we remain dedicated to pursuing it, we will find that there is no space for these intrusive thoughts to bother us. And even if they do surface, our commitment to our goal will swiftly push them aside. However, the real issue lies in the fact that many people lack a strong and clear sense of purpose. The Zen master continued, another reason why sexual desire can become uncontrollable is because society often tries to suppress it by labeling it as wrong. When something is kept hidden or forbidden, it sparks curiosity and fascination. This can increase people's attraction to sexual desires, even if they are not fully aware of it. When we try to push away or suppress a thought, it often comes back even stronger. The same goes for thoughts of sexual desire. Suppose I tell you not to think about a monkey. What's the first thing that comes to your mind? The boy replied, Sir, the first thing I would think about is a monkey. The Zen master continued, Similarly, when we try to forcefully stop vulgar thoughts in our mind, they often come back even stronger. So, it is best not to suppress thoughts. The Zen master further said, Sometimes sexual desires can take over us because we are not paying attention to our thoughts. When one sexual thought pops up in our mind, it often
time here. So.
A good thing, meditation.
Mm-hmm.
When you start doing it, meditate.
Empty the mind.
Yeah.
Like think of absolutely nothing.
Exactly.
And yeah, I think it is just about redirecting it and having a purpose, because it's like once your mind and your body and your soul is filled with all these other good things going on in your life, then these thoughts will not be so intrusive.
Exactly.
Often triggers more thoughts like it, and we end up lost in a chain of them. This can drain our energy and waste our time. That's why it is crucial to be aware of our thoughts and what's going on in our minds. Then the Zen master said, Sometimes we start thinking about lust because of spending time with people who think about it a lot. Even if we don't naturally think that way, being around them can make us feel the same. So, it is wise to avoid spending too much time with people who have lustful thoughts. The boy asked, Master, I have understood how to avoid lustful thoughts, but can we ever completely overcome our sexual urges? Master replied, First, it is important to know that we can't completely stop our sexual energy.
Don't want to.
It is a natural force designed by nature to create new lives and keep humanity going. Trying to control it directly usually does not work. However, through practices like meditation and prayer, we can transform this sexual energy into something higher. It is called sexual sublimation. Sublimation is not about suppressing desires, but about positively converting them into something greater. It is like electricity can be dangerous, but when we convert it into light by a device, it brightens up a room. Similarly, by doing good deeds, meditating, and praying, we can change our sexual energy into spiritual energy, which is also called ojas. Ojas is a powerful spiritual energy stored in the brain. The person who has a lot of ojas in his brain is very intelligent. He will have captivating eyes and a magnetic presence. They can influence others with just a few words and leave a lasting impact on everyone they meet. Through meditation, you find a deep sense of inner peace that makes worldly pleasures seem insignificant in comparison. It is not that you lose the ability to think or do things. Instead, you rise above them. As you continue meditating, you will find that these worldly actions start to feel trivial and immature. The boy asked, But master, where do I start with meditation? The Zen master said, Begin by spending time alone with yourself. The more time you spend with yourself, the better you will understand yourself. And as you get to know yourself better, you will find that material pleasures lose their appeal and intrusive thoughts begin to fade away.
Another good one. But meditation is about knowing oneself.
So, from the Christian perspective, it's to give it over to God.
We live in a world where the idea
and to pray and to meditate on something external. And from the Buddhist perspective, it is to internalize it, but through prayer and meditation.
Yes.
But same concept. It's like
exactly
find a purpose, give yourself over to something higher. And
I mean, that's what you'll realize about most religions.
Yep.
Is it's all the same basis.
Yep, of course. That's why alchemitism came to be. We started seeing the same kernels of truth through all the different religions, and we compiled those all together. And it was like, God, this is true.
Like, holy.
Yeah, I mean, all across the world.
Yeah.
Of course, you get some like fringe beliefs and stuff, some tribes and some cults and everything that are a little bit out there, but most of the main religions and most of the main, it's just you feel the truth.
Yes, you do.
I don't want to be too long-winded because we got
a
couple more here.
The idea of love is fed by a happily ever after. Our perception of what should and should not be is completely skewed by what we have learned in media. The typical pattern of intense passion and emotions, a conflict that makes us fight for that God-forsaken love, and then the resolution of being together forever. We see any romantic or sexual interests outside of that relationship as immoral, and that we must constrain ourselves for this one love for the rest of our lives. But is there such a thing as your one and only love? Is it not possible to love more than one soul? This question has resulted in cheating, divorce, resentment, conflicts, and a lot of lying. Is monogamy the only way to be in a loving relationship? More and more people are finding healthy relationships inside consensual, non-monogamous relationships. In actuality, the cultures that only accept monogamous relationships are in the minority worldwide. According to a paper in the Journal of Evolutionary Biology, 83% of societies allow polygamy. At Psych2Go, we're bringing you the 8 signs polyamory may be right for you. The first sign is that you have always felt limited and confined in conventional relationships. It's not the person you're with that's making you feel confined, it's the situation. Have you ever felt like you're no longer acting as an individual, but always thinking about being faithful to your partner? And you can't help but think, does this come from a place of love, freedom, and security? Or does it come from a place of ownership, jealousy, and fear? Sign number 2 is that you learn so much about yourself through others. Relationships are fun, yes, but they are also incredible opportunities to learn and explore different aspects of yourself. Each person is a universe, and both negative and positive experiences that we venture in with them are a journey to learning and growing individually as a person. If you are limited to only one relationship, there may be aspects of yourself you are neglecting. Sign number 3 is that you are the kind of person who feels energized by other people. Does diving into experiences with people outside of your primary relationship nurture, energize, and refresh you? Do you feel energized and refreshed after you have an innocent yet perhaps a little...
Okay, see, that's called a psychic vampire.
Yeah.
Too. And that you cannot do it the same way because entering into a relationship with that many people would cause too much jealousy, too much turmoil.
Yeah.
I get what they're saying about that type of person. So they can go and they could be around these different people to get the energy, but not in a sexual way, not...
And everything that they said so far is self-gratifying.
It is.
It's about how do
very much
I
so.
feel. It's like, oh, really? Am I in this relationship because I'm being controlled, or why don't I ever get to do what I want to do?
Exactly.
It's all self-gratification, and that's all very lustful.
Yes.
And it's like, I just believe that there is more to be had if you go through the struggles and you commit yourself to one person.
Oh yeah, there is, for sure.
Little flirtatious coffee with someone from the opposite sex whilst in a relationship? This does not have to imply any physical engagement. An innocent lunch date is enough. In a polyamorous relationship, you are free to flirt, have fun, and share your experiences with other people in any way you desire. Sign 4 is that you like to constantly challenge yourself in order to grow. The most common reason for people rejecting an open relationship is jealousy. They would rather not deal with the intensity of jealous feelings they would get with the very imagination of their partner engaging with someone else. But what if polyamory will teach you to be less jealous and to love with complete freedom? Would this not be like taking an entire weight off of your shoulders? This experience, while still being a very difficult one, will teach you to love someone. Fear, jealousy, and possession are not things that come from a place of love. Consider it a love boot camp. Sign number 5 is that communication and honesty are very important things for you. You can't stand lying about anything, and let's be honest, most people feel safer not admitting to their partners that they may be interested in or attracted to someone else.
No.
They may also not feel safe about telling their partner about certain friendships for fear of jealousy.
You are the kind of person who would rather be open about these difficult topics and feel safe in approaching them with your partner. You think it's best and healthier to tackle the situation and finding a compromise that makes you both happy. If there is something forbidden to us, we will only want it more. If we feel free to be with somebody else, then the initial excitement of that forbidden fruit is gone. Sign number 6 is that you don't like living life by society's rules and tend to question everything. You are not one to follow social constructs of what should and should not be. You often find yourself questioning these impositions made on us. Polyamory is instantly rejected by society and almost seen as a threat to normal relationships and normal family life. However, you prefer to live an experience for yourself before deciding your opinion on something, as opposed to following everybody else like a sheep. Sign number 7 is that you trust your love and connection with this person more than anything. You don't think that seeing someone else could possibly take away from your love and devotion to your partner. If anything, it might even strengthen your appreciation for them. If the connection you have is authentic, then it is really hard for that to just go away with the introduction of someone new. Sometimes we just enjoy someone new in our lives, but that does not mean we want them to ever replace our partner. And finally, sign number 8 is that you are aware that we can love more than one person and feel attracted to more than one person. If we learn to accept that one person cannot fulfill every desire that we have, then we will immediately resent our partner less and appreciate them more. If we decide to allow ourselves and our partners to fulfill things we can't through someone else, we are making them happy, and that, my friend, is love. Thank you for watching this video, and hopefully these signs helped you see if you'd potentially be open for a polyamorous relationship, or if you're more happy in a monogamous one. Let us know if any of these signs relate to you in the comments, and any videos you might like to see next.
I'm not sure how to start, but I need to confess.
Okay. Now, on to that last one. It's like, that is... You are too selfish if you want to have more people.
And they say that this one person can't satisfy you in every way.
Yeah.
Then again, it's you.
Yeah,
you
exactly.
Need to meditate and find out why that is.
Yes.
Because that's really weird.
It is.
Because it's like, I understand that historically and still around different parts of the world, there is polyamorous and polymarriage.
Yeah.
You know, and I get that, but there is still like a complete lack of intimacy within those relationships.
Oh, there is, for sure.
I don't think they will ever really know what it's like to ascend past that point because you're struggling. And it's like you are committing. And it's like nobody wants to struggle anymore. So it's like they don't get past that.
No safe space.
Yeah, they don't learn.
It's ridiculous.
You know, and it's like with the Mormonism, I understand their reasoning for it because it's written in their books. I get it. And
we've seen different shows on that too. And I mean, that's a good one. That is something that you can look at. But for the most part, most does not work like that.
Then you get people within those sects like Warren Jeffs that like basically like raped like 80 freaking like people under the age of 15.
Yeah.
You know, and said that it was in the name of God, and you just know that's
excuses.
Wrong. Right. It's just like they use sex to control the situation, and they use sex to abuse people and to gain more. You know, and they get more power, they get more wealth, they get more, you know, it's like another evil construct, you know.
It is.
But like to push all that stuff aside and rise above it and like, you know, commit yourself to one person, it's like I don't feel that there's anything more divine than that.
No, there's not at all.
Because in the beginning there was man and there was woman, you know. So,
exactly.
I don't know, that's just how I feel. But anyway, this is a I don't know if it's a Reddit story or whatever, but this is
10 minutes long.
Supposed to be a classic story of when open relationships go bad.
Okay.
And it's like this, I've heard the same kind of theme a million times over.
Okay, so it'd be about 20 more minutes in.
Oh, hopefully not. Hopefully you can just watch it.
Yep.
Something. I made some really big mistakes. I acted foolishly by posting anonymously on a Reddit forum about open relationships. My goal was to get opinions from others on how to convince my husband to open up our relationship because I had a crush on a coworker. I also made some hurtful posts about my husband, which was completely wrong. I made fun of his size, even though he's the biggest I've ever been with. But for some reason, I still felt like it wasn't enough. To make things even worse, I confessed to having an affair with the coworker I had a crush on in one of my Reddit posts. My husband discovered my Reddit account and saw everything. Before the affair even happened, I felt incredibly guilty about my feelings for my coworker. I had asked my husband for an open relationship, but it turned into a disaster. He not only said no, but he also started suspecting that I already had someone else in mind. Little did he know that I had already cheated on him emotionally. After the affair became physical, I felt an overwhelming sense of guilt, and it gnawed at me from the inside. I really wanted to share what I'd done with my coworker, but I didn't know who I could trust. I couldn't even confide in my friends because I was afraid they would judge me. Sharing it with my husband was out of the question because it might mean the end of our marriage. Since I spent a lot of time on Reddit and had read many stories about infidelity, I made the difficult decision to share my own experience there. I believed that strangers on the internet would give me honest and unbiased reactions. The affair had been with a male coworker who had been showing interest in me since we started working together. He wasn't in a committed relationship, which made me curious, considering how good-looking he was. My insecurities made me think that someone like him wouldn't be interested in someone like me, so I considered his flirting harmless. Especially when I noticed that he seemed to pay more attention to me than to the other girls at work, it boosted my self-esteem. If there's such a thing as a work husband, he would be it. He was very handsome, the type of guy who never missed a day at the gym. He was much taller than my husband, more attractive, and dressed more stylishly.
Ouch.
My friend and I even jokingly referred to him as having a big dick energy. We used to have a lot of fun at work, playing pranks on each other when we thought nobody was watching. We became really comfortable joking around, but we always kept things respectful. One Friday, my husband went out of town, and he was coming back on Saturday evening. On that Friday during lunch, all of my coworkers, including the male coworker I was interested in, went to a buffet. After eating so much, none of us wanted to go back to work. So, the male coworker I was interested in invited me and 3 other coworkers to his house to play some games. We thought it would be a good way to pass the time and burn off some of the calories we had just consumed. My male coworker was a bachelor, so he had a nice house. When I arrived at his house, we started by playing basketball on his driveway. Eventually, everyone else left, and it was just the 2 of us. I was sweating from the game, so I decided to take a shower at his place. After my shower, he had some drinks ready for both of us. We had a couple of drinks and then went to his bedroom. He turned on the TV, and we started watching a silly movie. I was feeling a bit playful, so I made a move on him and went down on him. Unfortunately, it didn't go as expected. He came in about 20 seconds without any warning. After that, he pretty much ignored me. It lasted for about an hour, and right when I was thinking of leaving, he started getting closer to me. I decided to go along with it. But I have to say, the intimate part was really bad. It was so embarrassing. He didn't want to do certain things because he said his tongue hurt from eating Pringles, so we skipped that and went straight to the main part. But it was just 10 minutes of awkward movements. And he didn't remember to be careful, which was concerning. Afterwards, he just rolled over and resumed watching TV. I quickly got dressed and left to go home. On my way back, I thought about everything and realized that all the excitement and flirting we had built up over nearly a year didn't turn out as expected. He may have looked strong and handsome, presenting himself like a perfect man, but when it comes to the real deal, my husband is way better than anyone else I've been with. It's because of his experience, and I wish I had recognized that sooner. Before I cheated on my husband, I treated him very poorly. I even made negative comments about his size on my Reddit post. However, upon reflection, I realized he's actually around 7 inches, which isn't small at all. I was just letting my fantasies about a coworker cloud my judgment. After the affair, I felt immense guilt. When my husband returned, I couldn't bring myself to confess, so I turned to Reddit to share my story. The Redditors there gave me the tough love I needed at that moment. I wanted someone to tell me how foolish I had been to fall for a fake playboy, and perhaps that's why he was still single. I actively engaged with comments on Reddit, finding it therapeutic for me during that challenging time. I ended my connection with the person I had an affair with and requested a transfer to a different department at work. While I waited for the transfer to happen, I avoided talking to that person and only discussed work-related matters. Some of my female coworkers noticed this change in my behavior, and I was surprised that they picked up on the chemistry between us. I became worried that someone at work who disliked me might tell my husband about the chemistry I had with the male coworker, especially now that my husband is suspecting something. To counter this, I made an effort to be more friendly and likable at work, even buying donuts for my colleagues. However, I was unaware that my husband had been aware of my actions for some time. He had been tracking my Reddit posts and had seen my previous posts where I had criticized him. When I posted about my affair with my coworker, he sent me a screenshot of that post while I was at work. This alarmed me, and I rushed home. Upon my return, I found my husband in the kitchen. I tried to talk to him, but he simply put on headphones and started cooking pasta. Eventually, he removed the headphones and served the pasta, but when I asked for some, he refused to share and ate it all himself. Desperate for forgiveness, I confessed to everything, but he ignored me. I felt exhausted and emotionally drained, so I went to bed without resolving the situation. He woke me up about an hour later, and I thought he wanted something intimate, but instead, he grabbed my blanket and handed me a towel. Then, he went into the living room to set up for sleep. I eventually fell back asleep after finding a rug to keep warm. While he was on the couch, I tried to talk to him, but he ignored me. I woke up early because my room was chilly, and the heater wasn't on. This gave me some time to reflect, and I realized I made some serious mistakes. I need to work on being a better wife. I attempted to talk to my husband throughout the day, but he remained unresponsive. When I tried to initiate physical intimacy, he declined and left the room, something he's never done before.
Yeah.
He seemed disinterested in everything, and I noticed he hadn't eaten or drunk anything all day. He just appeared tired. I attempted to have a conversation with him, but he abruptly left the house. I tried calling him, but it went to voicemail, so I sent him a text expressing my love for him and the need for us to talk to save our marriage. His response was painful. I no longer want to have a conversation or be in this marriage with you. I'll be staying elsewhere until the new year, and when I return, I expect you to be gone. This was my house before, and I don't want you here anymore. I've contacted a lawyer, and we will communicate through her from now on. I'm changing my number. I made some calls and found out that my husband is staying at his ex-girlfriend's house. This breaks my heart, as she had been trying to get back together with him ever since their breakup. I was worried about her because she's attractive, single, and always wanted him back. I have a feeling she might take advantage of this situation to try and win him over. I sent a text to my husband, letting him know I found out where he was and that I was willing to make a deal to prevent a divorce. The deal was that he could have other relationships, but we would stay married. I knew I made a huge mistake, and I apologized, but all he did was send me a screenshot of my Reddit post where I was criticizing him. I quickly deleted all my Reddit posts and apologized to him, but he still wouldn't respond. I haven't slept for 3 days, and my anxiety has become overwhelming. I had to call off work because of it. I don't know what to do except go back to Reddit with an anonymous account, seeking any advice or solutions. Today has been incredibly long, and so much has happened. I'm feeling lost and confused. I just want things to go back to normal. Sorry for the long message, I just needed to vent. I know I messed up, but I never thought it would get this bad.
So there you go.
That's crazy. I mean, yeah, when you mess up that bad, you have to pay the piper.
Yeah, I mean, once you cross the line, I mean,
Yeah.
that's broken. There's
It
no
is.
coming back from that.
No. And it's up to him
Yeah.
to say what to do next.
And I'm really glad that he decided to like just cut and dry
Yeah.
and go, because I was.
He gave her time to get out of there.
Yeah.
He said.
And it's like.
When did she say it was that it happened?
I don't know, but I think.
Was it like beginning of December or something? Because he said he gave her till the new year.
Yeah, I'm not really sure. I wasn't really paying attention to that part. It's like, not just the cheating thing, but the like totally berating him
Mm-hmm.
on the account and stuff. It's like that's so.
I don't. He finds that along with the cheating, and it's kind of like a double slap in the face.
Yeah. And it brings me to my point that lust will never bring you the same kind of satisfaction that love will.
Nope.
You know, and she found that out. You know,
Mhm.
fuck around to find out.
But you know, she had to lose everything to find out. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was it. Thank you, Sancho, as always, for joining us. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
And next week we'll be back with our Woke Wednesday and another
The seven
deadly sins.
I don't know what we're on now.
I don't either. We'll get it figured out by Wednesday, and we'll let everybody know.
Okay.
I think my Patreon has a link now.
Yep.
So if you want to become a member of that, please do. We could always use every little bit to help the channel. So, namaste.
Have a blessed day. I don't think it's going to matter because you can't sing anyway.
No, it matters.
It matters.
Okay, how do you?
Okay, so now you go back to this little red dot over here. And you say in the stream. In the stream. Go down. Say in the stream. Boom.